Today's video is sponsored by Native Sons Goods, makers of the best woven guitar, bag, and camera straps on planet Earth. And now the best is even better with a new line of hand-woven Maya Serape straps with USA organic herringbone hemp backing. Get 10% off when you use the link in the description, and remember, when you support my sponsor, you support this channel, and I sure appreciate it. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Brad the Guitarologist here. In this video, we're going to take a look at this little radio, which I believe to be from the 40s, maybe early 50s. It's an RCA Victor. I'm not sure what the model number is yet. I got this at a St. Vincent de Paul store here in Louisville. I walked in one day and overheard the ladies talking with somebody, and they were saying, "Oh, we just got in this neat neat transmitter." I was like, "Transmitter? What does it look like?" And they said, "Oh, I'll show you." So they went back in the back and brought this thing out, and obviously it's not a transmitter. So I was a little bit disappointed, but still I told them, I said, "Oh, it's not a transmitter, it's a receiver, though. It's a radio. How much for it?" And they said, "Well, we haven't priced it yet." And I said, "Well, how much were you going to put on it?" And he said, $10. And I said, "I'll take it." So for $10, I got this thing, walked out with it. It's got this cool little sticker on the back. This is to certify that this instrument has the acoustical balance which produces the tone of the golden throat. We do have a bit of a chewed up power cord there. That was one of the things I may have even pointed out. I may have said, "Hey, this power cord's pretty chewed up." Alright, well, first things first, I'm not going to plug this thing in with that cord like that, so we're going to have to rig something up to get around that. So this auxiliary input over here on the side, you can see that almost looks like an afterthought, like the chassis is way over here, but they put something to extend out and mount that on, so that's kind of cool. That's probably a chassis number right there. The U274 would be my guess. I'm not 100% sure. There's the RC1089B. That could be chassis number 2. Got RCA tubes in it, which is good, I guess, if you're going to have an RCA radio. Dial light. This thing looks like it's in pretty good shape. I mean, it's dirty inside, which you would kind of expect, but I mean, it looks like it's in pretty good shape. Nothing's really cracked or anything on this. It looks like it was kept pretty well. I'll go ahead and disconnect the antenna, pull the chassis, do something about that power cord, and just check out the inside of it, make sure nothing is obviously burned or anything like that before we try to plug it in. One mistake a lot of people make is just plugging something like this in without even inspecting it at all, and you end up, you know, destroying a bunch of stuff in the process. So yeah, let's pull the chassis and see what we're looking at here. A couple screws on the bottom of the chassis we need to take out to pull it, but we've got a model X551 here. Got all kinds of information, actually. Got a serial number even. Got a range of 540 to 1600 kilocycles, which is AM. It's a 5-tube radio with a 35W4 rectifier. We have a 50L6 output tube. Man, it looks like a 12AV6 driver. But first we need to pull this chassis. Let's go ahead and do that. Want to break something like this because you'll never find it if you do. Yay. I thought I broke it, but I didn't, thank goodness. Cabinet's pretty dusty, but all in one piece. Really good shape, my goodness. Really good shape. It even has the little grill there for the speaker. I would have thought that would have disintegrated, but it's there, and it has protected that speaker very, very well. Wow, look at that. Look at that speaker. Man, that thing is in great shape. Yeah, this thing was well kept. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if this thing just fired right up once we get a cord on it. The only thing that's let it down is the type of rubber they used on the power cord. Got some kind of stamp right there in the plastic. I guess this is plastic. It seems like plastic, maybe, not Bakelite. I don't know. It could be Bakelite, I suppose. The chassis looks good. There's no rust on the chassis. A lot of dust, but no rust. Let's just see what tubes we got here. That's the audio output tube right there, that RCA. That'll be the 50L6. This will be the driver tube right here beside it. This auxiliary will go directly into the grid of that driver tube, I'm sure. and bypass all of the tuner. Yeah, man, this all looks really good on the surface. Let's go ahead and flip it up. I'm actually just doing this project to pass the time while I wait for another video to render here on my computer. It's going to take a little while, and I can't really fit a amp or anything up here right at the moment, so might as well work on something small. You gotta love the smell of burning dust. Alright, that'll get the antenna out of our way. Oh yeah, 100% original, without a doubt. It's really what you want to see. You know, that means it hasn't been molested, nobody's really messed with it. There's a good chance that none of the alignment's going to be screwed with or any of that, so we might not have to mess with it. 450, 052, I'm guessing that is 1950, this 52nd week of 1950, so basically a 1951, which pretty much jives with what I'm seeing cosmetically. It looks like about that to me. Got these Aerovox capacitors in here. Looks like every one of those will probably need to be replaced. There's a Sprague there. Couple of domino caps. There's another red Sprague hiding back down in there. We've got a electrolytic here, multi-section cap. It looks like it's 2-section, and it has been well squeezed over the years into that clamp. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out of there because we're gonna change it anyway. I know that much. So I'm curious to read what's on it. 50 microfarad and a 30 microfarad at 150 volts. 240, 036, so that's 1950, 36th week of 1950 on that. I'm going to put this back in for the time being because I would be really curious to see if it even just fired up. Now, I'm going to dial it up slowly on a variac just to make sure that it doesn't pop anything. I don't want to take out, you know, one of the tubes or something like that, and if I don't have to. But I'm going to clip the cord here, and we'll tack on a new cord and just see what it does. I'm just really curious. All right, I'm just going to wire nut on this new cord for the time being. I'm not real concerned about this being done real well at the moment. I'm just trying to see if I can get it to work. I'm going to tack this antenna back on it just for the moment while we screw around with it. Just curious to see if it comes up. Let's just see what it does when we put power to it. Okay, 8 watts. The power, I mean, that seems about right actually for the halfway mark. Got some sound. Got a little bit of sound with the speaker. Radio's dead. Let's go ahead and dial it on up a little bit more though. Damn, that tube right there is stuck in the socket. I don't like the feel of that. I feel like I'm going to break the tube off just by moving it. Well, we definitely need power capacitors. And probably some other stuff too, because this thing seems to be stone dead as far as the radio goes. I would say we probably have an open coupling cap or maybe something like that. That's my guess. Yeah, that's definitely a filter capacitor. If you can turn the volume knob and there's no change in the hum whatsoever, that's filter capacitors. I don't know. I don't see this thing waking up without some major work. So let's go ahead and kill it before we burn anything up. We weren't drawing a lot of wattage or anything like that. It didn't seem scary on those numbers. I noticed last night when I was screwing around with this thing that a couple of these tubes seem to be real stuck. I just want to see if I can pull them without breaking them off or anything like that, and I want to try to clean sockets if possible. I mean, it's got that milky look to it. The whole tube is not milky, so I don't think it's gone to air, but I think this might be somewhat high hour tube right there, and I'm sure it's original. This is all original, it looks like to me. I mean, it's pristine as well in terms of everything being here and being untouched. I'm sure it was in somebody's closet or something like that for years and years and years. I mean, yeah, see, that is very stuck. That's very stuck in there. I feel like I'm about to pull the damn tube apart. I've actually had that happen before. But yeah, see what happens on these pins, on tubes like this, on these miniature tubes, and also 9-pin tubes, is that, you know, through the cycles of heat and cool, heat and cool, heat and cool over the years and years, the seal right around the pins down there, you know, gets broken, and eventually these, you know, they'll go to air. Let's test some tubes, so we'll clear those to make sure those are okay, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, so first up here is the Rectifier Tube. This is the 35W4. That one seems good, and it's probably good enough to operate this radio. Yeah, we'll be fine with that. Here's the 12BE6, same date code. You can see the filament glow there. Alright, let's check it. Well, that sucker's weak. That might actually be our culprit. I'm going to see if I can find a replacement for that. Here is the 12BA6. You can check filament continuity here. I mean, I could see it glowing, so I know it's continuous, so you don't have to do it. But if you want to, you can check it. I've got a short, so filament's good. If we read the meter on this one, it's just barely, I mean, barely moves the needle. Sometimes if you do let them warm up a bit, they'll come to life. I would call that good but marginal. And here is the 12BE6. That's the 12. Okay, so no, that's the 12AV6, because the bad one was the BE6. Yeah, and that's the converter. That's why this thing is dead, because it's not even getting past the first stage. Okay, so this is the Detector Diode and a triode in one. Okay, triode mode. That one's actually coming up all right. That's a fairly strong tube. It's actually still even creeping up a little bit. Let's go ahead and check the first diode. Okay, this one appears to be good. And that one's good too. So both diodes test good on this tester. Alright, we'll check the output tube now. It's a 50L6, same date code. Oh, that one pegged the meter. That's nice and strong, that tube. Alright, so the only one that was suspect was this guy. This is the converter, 12BE6. I'm sure I have probably plenty of these around, so I'll look around and dig one up. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and change the capacitors in this thing and see where that gets us. Alright, I went shopping in my tube stash to find a 12BE6, and I found a couple of them. These were actually stored in one of my little bins that had fallen from a high place at one point, so I don't know if these are going to be any good, but we'll test them on the tester. Okay, so this was the old original one, and you can see it's well into replaced territory, so it's definitely no good. Here's our first candidate. This is a one from Radio Shack, I believe, made in Japan. Yeah, we got filament glow in it, so that's a good sign. And this thing is pegging the meter. That tests as a really good tube. There's an old RCA. This one tests good, but not quite as good as the other one, so I think we'll go with the realistic. Alright, there's our new converter tube installed, and we want to see if this thing will work. I also noticed that the dial light is faulty, so I'm going to go ahead and replace it too. It's blown. And I just happen to have some of those on hand as well, so it's good to be a pack rat, I suppose. So let's flip this thing on and see what she does now. Now I still expect the hum of the electrolytics, because those are bad, but I would hope to at least get some radio station noise underneath. There we go. There's a station right there. You hear that difference between that and that? That's a station underneath all that noise. So I think if we service this properly with new caps, we'll probably be ready to go. All right, now that we have this thing completely rewired, I'm going to go ahead and clean the sockets, clean the pot. We'll start with the pot since it's right here on top. Give it a good spray. Okay, now the sockets, we can actually clean those from underneath. Before I spray all the sockets, I'm going to pull these tubes out of here. I'll clean the tubes off, wipe those down, and clean this chassis. This chassis is filthy. Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, this thing is in really excellent shape. I'll tell you what, man, this thing is in excellent shape. It's been well kept since 1950. Alright, let's get the tubes back in it.
Polly wants a cracker. Think I should get off her first. Think she wants some water to put out the blowtorch. Here's a name, have a seat. Let me clip your dirty wings. Let me take a ride. Cut yourself. Want some help? Please myself.
Okay, I have the loop antenna hooked up here. I have it hooked up to the Variac, to the power. And we're going to see what happens when we try to use this thing. I don't know if you could see it or not, but like I said, I'm taking it easy here. I've got 75 volts on it, drawing 0.12 amps, 9.3 watts of total power consumption.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, and put a big smile on your face. Now the thank you sets up my psychology. I'm not thinking, you know, is this another same old, same old? Instead, I'm recognizing I'm alive, you know? Hey, that's great. I'm well and feeling good, you know? There's a big smile on my face. Well, that smile floods my system with endorphins. That's the body's natural opiate system. You know what? I do feel good. Here come the opiates. Okay?
This thing, Brian, and is it the COVID-19 lockdown that's doing it to you?
Actually, it's the disruption to almost every aspect of my life.
Yeah.
It kind of sent me into anxiety for the first couple of weeks.
The cyber world.
Yeah, you know, I really have a great deal of empathy and sympathy for that situation. But the advice is still the same, whether you're married or you're single. As George said, it's a lion or a lamb time. And so you proactively change that thinking, set up a new routine. And maybe you get out of bed with that thank you, Brian. You force a big smile on your face, and then you go get your cup of coffee, and then you go exercise, and then you create.
Hey, can you get some people talking?
Music section online at NormalRetirementCoach.com.
Listen to that. You got a station I didn't know was there.
Offered through Mercurial, a registered investment advisor.
Listen to that.
40 double.
Doing it. You're doing a great job. You're tuning in the radio. Ooh, was that somebody?